Character meet and greets are coming back. So too is Hyperspace Mountain for a bit, and a new mysterious figure has arrived at Avengers Campus. All coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked, and today I want to talk to you about some new stuff that's going to be happening in the Disney parks very soon, including the return of traditional character meet and greets, just like we used to have before COVID, starting as soon as April 18th. And this is exciting because on the topic of things returning to normal, this thing right here it could be number one on the list. Character meet and greets aren't necessarily for everybody, but it's symbolic. When you talk about social distancing being a phrase that we've been using and dealing with so much over the past couple of years, and it's been particularly the case with character meet and greets. When Disney parks finally ended their social distancing requirements, that is, in gift shops or in restaurants or on attractions, that all happened, but they did it everywhere but with character meet and greets. Until today, as of this day, there is still a separation, a barrier between characters and guests. You still cannot have any physical contact with them. And that factor has been sort of a constant reminder of how things were and how far we haven't yet come. And it's actually raised questions. Why? Why is it that we don't have any social distancing anywhere, but we still do or still have had with character meet and greets? And I think the date, the time frame for when this is happening might give us a clue. April 18th is the first day that they're saying it could happen as soon as April 18th, which is just a week after Disneyland is finally going to be fully within their vaccine or vaccination requirements. As of April 11th, every cast member working for the Disney company has to be fully vaccinated. That starts on April 11th. You're either vaccinated or you can't work for the Disney company. And like we talked about with Fantasmic, once you have all of your cast fully vaccinated, then you can start relaxing some of, or all of perhaps, those COVID precautions, those restrictions that limit Disney's ability to operate the park to its fullest capability. And actually, if we take this line of thinking a little bit further, I do think that this time, April 11th, might be the beginning of a complete Disneyland recovery. Not the end of the recovery. We're not all the way there on that date, but it's the beginning of actually getting all the way to traditional, normal Disneyland. The parks today still aren't as full as they have been historically, year-over-year type measurements. This spring has been quite a bit slower than last spring, or the spring of 2019, I guess. And part of that, I think, is Disney's reluctance to increase the number of guests that they allow into the park because they don't have the cast to support that many guests, to serve that many guests. But once we hit that April 11th date, Disney might be seeing the last of that cast member exodus. They will probably have a lower turnover rate than they're experiencing right now for a variety of reasons. But part of that turnover that's happening right now are those cast who are unwilling, who do not want to get the vaccination. So if we have a lower turnover rate, that means they can retain more of those casts, and that means they can start growing the cast member base. And on a decent timeline, you could get back to 100% fully capable roster of cast members at the Disneyland Resort. That is, assuming this is something that Disney wants. All of this is to say that I believe, it is my prediction, that we are going to see the closest approximation to traditional busy at Disneyland type levels somewhere around June 1st. That's my prediction. Stay tuned. We'll follow up on this prediction in about 2 months. And while we're on the topic of crowds and how things are going, let's take another look at what's going on with the reservation calendars. This is the single-day ticket calendar for April and May, and it's still not looking great for April. Shocking, really. And this again relates to the conversation that we just had. The parks aren't full, but Disney still appears to be reluctant to sell more single-day tickets. This is a choice. Also note the inverse nature of this calendar, where the weekends are still open for single-day tickets, but the weekdays are not. It's the weekdays that are sold out. Compare that to the Magic Key calendar. In May, it's the weekdays that are open, but weekends are not. Actually, April looked like this right up until Thursday afternoon, but the weekend dates were replenished a little bit. They are already starting to sell out, but the weekend dates in April were replenished a little bit. This tells me that Disney right now is still undeterred in their efforts and their desires to use the reservation system to manipulate who's going to the parks and when. I think it's plainly obvious that they want single-day ticket holders in the parks on the weekends, and they want annual pass holders, Magic Keys, in the parks on the weekdays. Not exactly breaking news, I know. We've talked about this a few times in the past, but I mentioned it here again today because I do feel like that there has been some discussion as to whether or not Disney was going to continue on this pattern. They were going to continue to manipulate the reservation system the way that they have. That perhaps Disney might be changing their mind on reservations, considering all the blowback that they've been getting, the lawsuit, and people complaining constantly. Well, they're not. Not yet. They're still doing it. Next topic. You know what we haven't seen in Tomorrowland in a very long time? An overlay on Space Mountain. There was no Ghost Galaxy this past Halloween, or the Halloween before that. And I don't think we've seen Hyperspace Mountain since, I want to say, 2019. But that's about to change this year for Star Wars Day in May. Looks like Disney's going to bring back Hyperspace Mountain for the Star Wars-themed After Dark events coming in May. May 4th, to be exact, Star Wars Day. And likely for the rest of the month on through Star Wars Celebration at the end of the month. It's good news for Disneyland fans because it's a small signal that Disney is willing to do just a little bit extra, something that we haven't seen them do a lot of, at least we weren't seeing them do a lot of in the past. Maybe a little bit more, actually, these days. They're going that little bit extra, giving us Hyperspace Mountain for Star Wars Day and for Star Wars celebrations. But more than that, it's just a little bit of fun. I like the overlays at Hyperspace Mountain, but just in short doses. A month is the perfect amount of time. Just a little bit here and then get me right back to Space Mountain. But I can enjoy Hyperspace Mountain for a month. And I miss not having Ghost Galaxy for Halloween. I'm not saying it's coming back, but I feel like this could be a signal that they might be willing to do that this coming Halloween. I really do. I hope they do. I hope they do for Halloween. I miss those projections on Space Mountain that you could see in the sound effects and all that. I think that's great. Crossing my fingers. Okay, finally, we have a new mysterious figure on the rooftops of Avengers Campus. Well, we kind of know who he is, right? Wednesday night marked the first night that Moon Knight is appearing in Avengers Campus. And he looks kind of amazing. It's a great costume and is perfect, I think, for this kind of environment. It's all about the costume, and the costume looks great on him. It doesn't require, it can look as close to the real thing as you can get for most costumes. Some costumes they have to make do because the character needs to be mobile. They need to be able to get around, like Iron Man. The Iron Man costume isn't great. I'm just going to say that. The Iron Man costume is not great, but this one is easy to reproduce and make look like the real thing. Same thing for Loki, for example. Easy to make that one look good. And then all you got to do is post him on top of the Avengers Campus headquarters, just looking ominous, put a light on him, and just let him stare at guests for 30 minutes. I think that'd be awesome. And all of this, of course, is because Moon Knight has premiered on Disney Plus this past week, the latest series on Disney's streaming network that hopes to continue the mostly successful runs of all of the Marvel and Star Wars series. I mean, they've all been pretty good. I think the weakest link so far has been the Book of Boba Fett, but most of these have been pretty great. I've really enjoyed them myself. And the early reviews are good. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to try to watch it tonight, but the early reviews are good, so I'm looking forward to this. And I'm looking forward to seeing Moon Knight in the parks at Avengers Campus. And that's all we got for you guys today. That's our news from the Disney parks. Thank you very much for watching. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked and on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney. That's fresh with no E. And on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. We've also got our website at freshbakedisney.com. And if you like our show, we want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked